I am meditating. My back is aching. My hips are tense. I'm trying to force myself to sit in like an upright position, as they say you should do. I'm listening to a guided meditation that I don't really like, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, again and again, is this the right? Should I change to another? I change to another. Same thing there. Don't really like it. It doesn't really give me what I think it should give me. And I spend a lot of time trying to find the right meditation, or I put my timer on 22 minutes because I have this thing that I have to have it on 22 minutes, and I'm just sitting there, I'm just thinking a lot of feelings, my head is throbbing, my heart is beating faster and faster. The more I've meditated, the more stressed I'm getting. I am feeling my breath is, I can't breathe deeply. I'm like, my breath is like a weight. This is not comfortable. What are people talking about? Like, oh, meditation is so good. Ugh. No, this is terrible. This was my experience of meditation for a large part of my years as a meditator. It was not a nice experience. In fact, it was infuriating. It was annoying. I didn't like it. But I still had that thing like you should meditate. Everyone says, oh, you should meditate. Meditation is so good for you, blah, 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 blah. Meditation de-stresses you. So it's not a word I use anymore, but I used to do all those shoulds that my mind said I should do. So I kept meditating every day, even though it was such a painful, uncomfortable experience. And now, this is not my experience at all. Now, meditation feels like lying on the beach, you know, that feeling when you're lying on the beach, you've just been in the ocean, your body feels so good, you feel fresh and clear, and you're just lying and you're just feeling the sun on your face. And it just feels good to just lie and just do one thing, just lie and feel the sun. That's how meditation feels for me now. So I want to talk about how this shift happened for me. And one thing that I don't hear people talk about, that I've never heard anyone talk about, that was the game changer for me, was learning about my nervous system. And, you know, if the nervous system is dysregulated, that means that it signals danger, even when things might not be dangerous in your present moment. And it creates a stress response, activates a stress response for things that might not make sense that it would do. And I used to live with a dysregulated nervous system. You know, I used to, like, if I was sleeping and I heard even just a little sound, like someone else in the building opening their door, I would wake up and my heart would start beating, and I was like breathing, stress response. And I just thought, you know, for a very long time, because I didn't have the knowledge, I didn't have the language, that I was just sensitive, you know, I was just sensitive. And then I realized, I learned that no, that is not a normal thing, that's just me being sensitive. That's what it's like having dysregulated nervous system. That is like on edge, creates fight or flight, creates the stress response, even in moments where there is no real danger. And one of the biggest dangers for my nervous system was my own emotions. And, you know, when we sit down, so feeling my emotions, being present with my emotions, being in situations where I could have an awareness of my emotions was a dangerous situation. So that's what my nervous system was trying to get me to avoid. And, you know, when we meditate, we're quiet, we're still, we're by ourselves, we're going inwards. That's a situation where emotions can arise. That creates space for emotions to be felt. And so there I was now, what I realized, sitting, and I was meditating, and what was happening was that my nervous system was getting more and more activated. There was, you know, a stress response. I was doing something because, you know, you heard like, oh, meditation is good for stress, but actually it was just creating more stress. And that makes no sense to meditate when that's what happens. So I thought about that, like, why am I meditating? And I am meditating because I was meditating because I wanted to feel calm and centered. And I was not feeling that way. And activating, then having the knowledge of the nervous system and activating that. So I stopped meditating. I didn't meditate for a couple of years. So I used to meditate a lot every day, and then I stopped. And what I did instead was I learned to, I created a regulated nervous system. I learned about the nervous system. I, learned the skill, because that's what it is. It's a skill to know how to heal the traumas that create the stress responses that nervous system has learned is dangerous, to understand ourselves on a deeper level, understand our nervous system. And also just, the language has helped a lot, really learning the language of my own body. And I did the healing. I learned the process how to do it, and then I did it. And again, and again, and again, and again. So now, after I've learned the skills of meditation, now after I've learned the skill of healing trauma, my nervous system, I'm not in a place anymore where my nervous system signals danger when there's no danger. There are very few situations now that happens. There still are, but there are very few, and it's not, for example, it's not something I experience daily, like my emotions or a certain behavior from a certain person that I experience often. Those things don't signal danger anymore. So it's not very often that and I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I sleep very soundly, very deeply nowadays, which is cool. And I will probably get into that more in later videos, because it's a very, very cool and empowering journey to go on when you've been a person who had this super activated nervous system, and then now when you're a person who's not. And when the nervous system does get activated, like we were talking about yesterday, I do actually know how to be with myself in those moments. But more on that later. So now I'm like, ooh, okay, I get meditation now. Like, now I get it. There's a completely different experience for someone with a dysregulated nervous system and a regulated nervous system who meditates. It's such a big difference. So I did that, but there's another thing I did to, or another shift that happened, and that was my mindset around meditation. Because I didn't want to maybe admit it, but I did measure my meditation practices. Like, I could succeed at my meditation that day, or I could fail. And usually I had, like, if I get into the zone, I had like this zone, if I just like, then it was a good meditation, I succeeded. Also, like, I had this thing that if I meditate longer, it's better. So even though, I heard 1,000 meditation teachers, not that many, but I heard so many times, it's not about that it's not about not having thoughts, it's about, guiding yourself back to focus when you're present, when you have the thoughts. Blah, blah, blah. I heard that 1,000 times, but still, I still measured that. And it wasn't until I found a practice that I actually enjoyed doing in the moment, that worked for me as I am and felt comfortable, that I could start meditating for the experience itself. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm not actually meditating for the result, even though I am noticing results. I am, how crazy that might sound for people, I am doing it for the experience itself. It feels good. Like, I like having a moment during the day where I just sit and I focus on one thing. Like you would, it's enjoyable to lie in the sun and feel the sun on your face. You're not doing that much. Perhaps you're just breathing. It feels good. I realized I gave myself the freedom to, like, I don't have to meditate. I can be whoever I want. I can do whatever I want, meditating or not. That's not, it's not, if that's not something you want to do, that's not an experience that, that you like, that space, that stillness, then you don't have to do it. So like I said, I do notice a difference now. Like what I do is to know if I notice a difference, that I maybe meditate regular for a while, like a couple of weeks, and then maybe I stop for a week and I see. I do that with a lot of my practices that I do, just to see that I'm not just doing it because I should do it. I'm just like checking, like, okay, does it really do something? And I do notice a difference. Like now when I'm meditating every day, I'm feeling, you know, my vibe my vibe is better. Just like this energy around life, just a bit heightened. My thoughts are slower, and it's like I can, you know, I can like zoom out easier and just like dun. There's more ease just in my day to day because I have that space. Yeah, it's easier to move with more like self-certainty. I have more like connection perhaps to my feelings, myself, my body. But there's a very important thing that I want to add to this. I don't experience the benefits like I'm talking about when I've done the meditation practice perfectly. And I know you, like, we hear this, I heard this, but I didn't realize this, but this was the truth for me. It's not when I'm like in the zone, like when these benefits, like I'm meditating now and I'm gonna share my practice. And the thing is, I'm not trying to not have thoughts, and I do have a lot of thoughts. It's maybe like 5 times that I manage to do this thing. Oh right, I'm thinking, and I come back to my focus. And then I can consciously breathe, hold my attention on my breath for like, 20 seconds. It's not long. I'm not like, for the 15 minutes and then I feel the benefits. I'm feeling the benefits when I'm not doing it perfectly. And realizing that was really nice too, because then I can just let go of that. Oh, I need to do this to get the result. I seem to get the result, and more importantly than the result, the experience is something very nice. And when something feels good and it's nice and comfortable, you want to keep doing it. And that's also nice. So my practice, to end, it's very simple. And I found a practice that works for me. It's not the shiniest practice. I really wanted to do like a cooler practice. I was trying to find these guided meditations. I've gone through a lot of different practices, but this one I came back to again and again. So now I've just been like, okay, I'm just gonna go with this. And it's simply putting my timer on Insta Timer, that, for 15 minutes, and then just breathe deeply, like do the deep breaths. And deep breaths were impossible before I regulated my nervous system, so that's why that I feel is the first step to come into a regulated nervous system. And even if you spend those 15 minutes a day just learning about yourself, learning about the universe, learning about trauma healing, the ways that work for you, that would create incredible shifts. That would be a much more effective use of your time than trying to sit and force yourself to meditate, because it's not gonna give you what you want. But yeah, so I do a 15-minute practice where I just sit and I just think, okay, let's take deep breaths, and then like a wave, I go on a thought, and then I realize after a time, oh wait, I'm not thinking about my breath, I'm not focusing, and I'm like, whoa, okay, like that's cool, like how a breath can just a thought can just take you away, and it makes you experience sensations in your body. So I note that, and I don't like, oh, what I did. It's like, it's a cool experience, like we can think, and then I keep on breathing. And then the alarm clock goes. The ping, the dong rings at 15 minutes, and that's enough. And I don't feel like, oh, I should be doing more, because it's good. So yeah, that's my practice, and that's my thoughts on meditation. I hope this was helpful. Mwah.